What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys episode number 19 in my entire DVD and Blu-ray collection. This is a series in which I show you guys everything that I own and talk about each title a little bit. So continuing along here, we have episode number 19. First up, we have Night of the Living Dorks, and it's been a long time since I've seen this. I actually never even watched this specific DVD. I picked this up in like a Go Hastings sale for like $1, and I actually never watched it, but I have seen the film before. It's been years. I remember renting it like on DirecTV, but funny thing about this film is I remember seeing it all the time on the previews and trailers of like VHSs and DVDs that I rented, and never actually seeing the film in a rental store to actually be able to rent it. So I always knew about it for a long time, but I was never able to find it. So when I finally had the opportunity to check it out, I rented it, and I remember liking it. I thought it was pretty cool, but it's been so long and my tastes have changed so much. I don't know if I'd still like it, but it's definitely one that I do want to give another shot to and revisit sometime soon. Maybe do like a horror zombie marathon or something, but it's October right now, so we already got way too many marathons planned, so gonna have to be a while for that. After that, we have A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is the Infinifilm DVD edition, and I own this film on other formats and other editions, but I decided to hold on to it just simply for the special features, and it has a special meaning to me because I remember when I picked this up, I think I paid like $25 for it or something outlandish. It was at a time where I didn't really collect. I would always pick up horror DVDs here and there, but I didn't have a collection or anything. I had a small group of of DVDs, but I wouldn't really call it a collection. And I remember when I first got this was like the first time that, maybe not the first time, but it was a significant time where I remember just being completely engulfed in the special features and just, loved what was on the disc. And it was just so cool to hear about a film that I was such a big fan of. Like, I loved the franchise growing up, so it was cool to actually, get a cool edition of it, and I held on to it. I like the slipcover and stuff, so it'll stay in the collection. After that, we have Freddys Dead, The Final Nightmare in the old snapper case edition. I remember grabbing this at a GameStop, and it was a long time ago simply by the fact that when's the last time you've seen DVDs at a GameStop? And actually, I think it was called Electronic Boutique at the time, so I don't even think the GameStop company bought out the EB games that I had in the mall where I live. And I think they even still had NES games and Sega games and stuff for sale, so it was quite a while ago. I think I only paid like $3 for it, but I was happy to have it, because this is back, like I said, with the other Elm Street edition, this is back when I didn't really have a collection or anything, so it was cool to have it. I was always a fan of this one growing up, and as time went on, and I think it was around that time where I bought it and actually watched it again, I was like, this isn't as good as I remember. And it really is a bad movie. It's a bad Elm Street movie, but I still have love for it. I don't love it, but I have love for it, if you know what I mean. It's just such a decline from the Elm Street films. Something I always noticed is the Elm Street, like, Freddy's makeup gets worse and worse as the series goes on, and I always look at this cover to, like, reaffirm that fact when I see how awful his makeup looks. It looks like a mask. It's like, I don't know, it just doesn't look good. But that is the snapper case edition of Freddys Dead. Then next up we have an awesome film, and that is Never Sleep Again, The Elm Street Legacy. My favorite documentary. This thing blew me away. I think I actually seen it on TV first. It was on, I don't know what channel it was, but they were running like horror documentaries. They had 25 Years of Terror on before this, and I watched all 4 hours of this, and I was like just completely into it. It was just amazing to me to see so many people involved with the franchise talk about it, because I loved the Elm Street films growing up. Like, they were a huge deal in my life, and to like learn as much as I did from this documentary, and to be able to see these people, what they look like now, and it was just a perfect thing. A lot of documentaries based, on horror franchises or horror films always leave you wanting more, as if like they didn't cover the whole story. You feel like they left out some things, or they didn't touch on this, or oh, I remember this, why didn't they talk about this? This does not do that. This like covers everything, and while you're watching it, you're like just amazed. I love this documentary. It's been so long since I watched it, but normally documentaries are kind of a one-shot thing. Like, you don't, there's not a whole lot of rewatch value in documentaries, but I feel like every 5-6 years you can pop this in and be just as into it. So I need to do that eventually. And that one came with a poster, which is pretty cool. After that, we have Stephen King's Nightmares and Dreamscapes. I actually still have this sealed. I haven't opened it yet. It says used, but it has the cellophane on it, so I don't know if it's just rewrapped or what, but it's in pretty damn good condition for being used, I guess. And I don't know. I don't know if this was like a TV miniseries or something. I actually don't know much about this. I know a lot about Stephen King miniseries and TV shows and movies, even TV movies, but I don't really know much about this one, so I would be curious to see what's in there, if it's like a miniseries or whatever. I haven't really heard many people talk about it either, so this is something, it says 8 mind-bending stories, so that seems like some sort of like anthology miniseries, but I don't know. I'll have to check it out really soon though, because I've been curious about this for a long time, and I keep forgetting it's in my collection. After that, we have Nightmares in Red, White, and Blue. This was a pretty cool documentary. I really like this one because it kind of just goes through American horror, and, you know, that's my favorite, obviously. If you guys know me, like, I know a lot of people, like, Italian's their favorite, or, like, French, if you're Jeremy. But, like, there's nothing better to me than a good old classic American horror film, whether it's a Universal Monsters film, or something like Texas Chainsaw, or an 80s slasher. America just, you know, it's what I grew up with, so I didn't really have access to a lot of the foreign films, so I'm very nostalgic on classic 80s and, you know, 70s and you know, even further back horror films, and this one's pretty cool because it kind of gives you a little brief history of it in America, and it's good stuff. Really much enjoyed this documentary. And I especially like that they started out early and then into like the atomic age, because that's an area where I'm not very familiar with. Then we have Nine Dead. This one is kind of like your typical Saw ripoff, but I actually enjoyed it. I think it's pretty cool. It's what I would call a contained horror film. That's kind of the word that me and the crew dubbed it, and it kind of means like small group of characters in a singular location, typically trapped or barriered off or just kind of held in one place. And you know, it's kind of a survival horror type thing. So I love contained films. They're one of my favorite types in the horror genre. And Nine Dead's pretty cool. It's a little bullshit when they start revealing things, but I like the concept. A bunch of people in a room, they don't know why they're there, figure out why you're there, or I'm gonna kill somebody every 10 minutes or 9 minutes or whatever it was. Cool concept. Really cool movie. After that, we have The Ninth Gate. I watched this one maybe a year or two ago, and I liked it. It was pretty cool. Don't really remember a whole lot about it. Just, you know, watching so many films over the last couple years. Don't remember like it very much, but it was a really good movie from what I do remember, like a 9 out of 10-ish. Super cool stuff. Johnny Depp, Roman Polanski, awesome. After that, we have Night Tales, and this is one I actually have not watched. It's BET, Black Entertainment Home Entertainment, and this is Flavor Flav, and yeah, it looks like some sort of anthology. Looks pretty awful, but it is sort of hood horror, which I'm a sucker for, so I will check it out. Of course, Flavor Flav from Public Enemy, and yeah, I don't know. I'll have to watch this one sooner or later. Like, I also own Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror, which you'll see in a future video that I have not watched as well. Not Quite Hollywood, the, what is it? The Wild Untold Story of Ozsplitation. Oh man, this is so fucking badass. I love this, dude. This is one of my favorite documentaries. It's not all horror. They kind of touch on horror a little bit, but it's more about just, you know, Australian exploitation cinema, which was like a huge influence for people like Quentin Tarantino, and just has a rich history, and any like film fanatic or film buff would eat this stuff up, because it really explains to you like a whole era, and it does it in depth and really lets you know about something that probably a lot of fans aren't familiar with, and that is Ozsplitation. It's awesome stuff. Love this film. After that, we have the number 23. I got this cool slipcase with it. I've always liked it, like this slipcase. But this is a film that I hear a lot of people give shit to. But I loved it. I thought it was really cool. I haven't watched it since it came out, but I remember buying this when it was brand new. And I don't know. I just was really into it. Like, I believe Jim Carrey. It was a pretty cool thriller. And it's one that I honestly don't have any negative like opinions about. Like I said, it's been a while since I've seen it, but it was pretty cool. But I hear so many people give like this film mad shit, so if you don't like it, tell me why in the comments, because I would be curious to know. But yeah, this one's pretty cool. I like this one a lot. I want to revisit it. I say that a lot in these videos, but it's true. After that, we have Open Water 2 Adrift. This is another contained horror film. Now, it's technically, they're in a wide open place, but they're contained to one environment, one type of situation. So that's why it's a contained film. And honestly, dude, and I tell this to Moods and other people all the time, Open Water 2 Adrift is a great contained horror film. It is a great film. I love Open Water 2. It's so much better than the first one. And if you are afraid of like the ocean or things like that, being trapped, like this plays on those fears so much. And it's honestly a very, very simple concept, and it works so well. I really mean that. I know people think I'm crazy when I say that, but I really do think that Open Water 2 is a great movie, and I highly recommend everybody check it out. It's awesome. I actually want to revisit it really soon, because I want to do like a contained horror film week or something like that. After that, we have Orca the Killer Whale. This one's alright. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's sort of your standard Jaws ripoff, maybe a little bit above standard. It's a little above average in terms of Jaws ripoffs. It's probably one of the best, honestly, but it's just okay to me. There's certain things I liked about it, certain things I didn't like about it. Found it a little slow, but it's fun. It's cool. I think that a lot of people would like this a little bit more than me. I just kind of was a little lukewarm on it. After that, we have Orphan. This one's really cool. I really did like this one. This is one of those films that back when I didn't own like everything at Walmart, and they actually every once in a while I could find some decent stuff, I picked it up for $5. Now it's like so hard to find anything at Walmart. And this one, man, it was so cool. I love the concept. A good twist. I saw it coming, but it was a good twist. It plays out good, creepy. I love this. I mean, this little girl is like perfect for this role. I love the like Russian accent and stuff. It's very good. Esther, yeah, this film, it's been a little while since I've seen it, but I remember really liking it. Really cool stuff. But probably one of my favorite Killer Kid films, honestly. Then we have The Orphanage. A lot of people are very high on this one. I just thought it was okay. I didn't really love it. Definitely has that Guillermo del Toro flavor, but I'm actually a person who is not the biggest Guillermo fan. I should be, because he's Mexican and I come from Mexican descent, but I just I get the style, and I'm aware that it's good. It just doesn't connect with me like it does other people. I just don't really like the style that much. I feel like it works sometimes and it looks good sometimes, but other times, like, I don't know. It's weird. I can't connect with it like other people do. But I am aware that it is good. I just don't really care for it. But I mean, it's still a decent film. I thought it was pretty solid, but definitely way overrated. After that, we have Outpost. Moods actually sent me this one a while ago. I've always wanted to grab the sequels and never have yet. This one was cool. It was like a ghost Nazi zombie film. First of all, I love Nazi zombies, and the ghost twist, or the ghost take on it, was a little bit different, which was interesting. And I love military horror. Like, I love like war horror, and this is kind of like that. So pretty cool stuff. I really like this one. Had crazy Hitler Nazi experiment stuff going on. Pretty cool stuff. After that, we have P2. This one's actually set on Christmas or Christmas Eve. Been a little while since I seen it, but I liked it. I felt like there was a lot of plot holes in it, but overall a decent, like, horror, but like thriller-ish type horror film too. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Kind of contained horror as well. The Pact. I like this one as well, but I did feel like it had a ton of plot holes, and you know, there was some creepy moments, but honestly, like, there's just way too many plot holes in this film to really give it a high rating, but it was pretty cool. After that, we have Paranormal Entity, which I have not seen, but everybody tells me that it's not that bad. It's actually better than Paranormal Activity. Now, I am actually a fan of Paranormal Activity, so I'll be the judge of that, but yeah, I just haven't got around to checking it out yet. It's from the Asylum, I think, which I guess it's one of the Asylum's better films, but you hear that from time to time, which is pretty cool. So even, you know, companies that put out complete shit, every squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, I guess. And will Paranormal Entity be my nut? Who knows? After that, we have good old Patrick. This is Synapse release, and of course Patrick is one of those Ozsplitation films. Patrick is pretty cool. I do find it a little long and a little boring, but it's a decent movie. It's almost a better movie in like a condensed version. Like, the film is creepier when somebody explains it to you or you see clips of it than actually having to sit through the whole thing. But it is a good movie. Like, I think I gave it like a 7 out of 10 or something. It's just it's not one that I would really run back to and rewatch at all, like, anytime soon. It's just too long for me. It drags. After that, we have Pelt. Don't remember much about this one. It was like a hillbilly horror or redneck horror, outback horror, backwoods horror, whatever you want to call it. Pretty cool. Don't really remember a whole lot about it. I remember it being like a really big, like, Wrong Turn ripoff. Like, it really felt like a Wrong Turn ripoff, but that's pretty much all I remember. And finally, for this part, we have a classic, Mr. Wesley Craven's The People Under the Stairs. I love this film, loved it my whole life. It's one of the films that I remember first watching and, like, finding my love for horror. I remember watching it on Monster Vision, which completely molded me into a horror fan, and it's one of the nights I really remember. Like, I really remember him showing Monster Vision. It was cool. Definitely really cool. And People Under the Stairs rocks, and it won't be the last time we talk about it, so save that for later. Peace out, guys. See you guys in episode number 20.